Hey, folks, this is Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop and the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce. Today, I got a community message, folks. I'm sitting here with my good friend, partner in crime, partner in time, long time buddy, Mr. Fred Shaw. What's up, Fred? How you feeling, Doc?
I'm doing all right, my brother, and I just want to thank you for letting me come back on your show again.
You know, you, Rambo, and a couple other folks hold the world's record for being on my show. You've been rocking with me since I had Issues in the Hood back in the day, Doc, on over on Channel 3 back when I was on Compton Cable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Doc, anytime you call, you got a seat next to me. What we got today, Fred?
Well, you know, first of all, I wanted to begin by acknowledging that the CCHR International Task Force Against Racism and Modern Day Eugenics, that you were able to receive an award from them for your work, for having me on the show, giving me an opportunity to express what's going on in the field of psychiatry. You have never shut me down like a lot of people try to do. You've actually let the viewpoint come out and let people decide for themselves. This is all that anybody can ask, and I thank you for that. And also for you accepting the position as our celebrity voice for the task force. You know, you understand, like very few others, the importance of this being exposed if it's not right, and being corrected if things aren't going the way we want to be in the field of mental health. And we just got a wealth of information that basically says that it needs to be brought back under the law, so that, you know, and deprived of all this money they're making on the misery of the people. So, you know, I just want to first begin by doing that and thanking you for, you know, your contribution.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Doc. I appreciate the recognition and an opportunity to represent in what's up for a good cause, folks. Mental health ain't no joke. I've experienced people with mental health. In fact, I was telling my buddy today, I was riding down the street. I had to go to Ontario this morning, and I was passing by my old job. I used to work at a few Heights convalescent home on Avalon, El Segundo. I worked in the psych ward. They have two sides. They have one side is convalescent, one's kind of a psych ward. I don't know what it is right now, but in 1975, it was a psych ward. And I didn't understand what I was doing at that time, because I was a kid. I was a youngster. They was paying $2 an hour, and I was working 8 hours a day sometime. And after a full 40-hour week, I might make $160. I bring home $132 after every 2 weeks, $132. And we were just happy to get our checks, man. But I didn't realize the kind of drugs that we were passing out. We had to escort the nurses into the rooms to pass out the medication. And sometimes, depending on who it was, we had to, make sure they took their medication. And as I got older, I started hearing some of the words that I heard back then. Thorazine and some other things. Thorazine I remember the most, because it turns your neck real red. It's basically a chemical lobotomy, right?
Right, exactly.
And I will see people off the drug sometimes before they give them to them. They seem pretty normal. As soon as they get them, they get zombified. Tell me about that, Fred.
Well, there was a guy who was at Maine Central Jail when I was a Los Angeles County Sheriff Deputy, and I was working the mess hall. And I was one of them brothers that you come through the line, then you want to eat again, I'd let you eat again the second time. Okay. Third time, I usually kicked him out of line and said, no, you can't. This food right here ain't the best food for you to be eating 3 times. One day I seen him, he always was joking, happy-go-lucky. Okay. One day I see him, and I said, man, what happened to you? He said, they give me Thorazine. And I developed what they call a term called the Thorazine shuffle.
Yes.
Because of the way they would walk is almost like Frankenstein and zombie.
Right.
And or the mummy. And all the zombies like you see on.
Like their legs are taped together.
Right.
You ain't getting no full stride. But you can move, but you ain't getting no full stride.
And I remember then, like, what are they doing to them that these drugs could take them out like that? I mean, this guy was like a jokester. And now, he's so messed up because they didn't give him that drug. And then now we seeing the same type of things in the streets with these other drugs. And people are walking around. This is the thing that we want to emphasize. if these drugs are so good, then why aren't the people getting better?
Mm.
If these drugs are so good, how come the homeless population has exploded?
Mm.
You go down to Hollywood and they got tent cities up there.
Yeah.
You know, trash all in the streets, all that. Why is the homeless population growing when we getting all of this money to handle the homeless?
Mm.
Why are people, Nancy Pelosi included, and the rest of them, why are they saying when you mention homeless, they mention, oh yeah, the mentally ill? Everybody homeless ain't mentally ill.
Right.
There's a whole segment of our society that sleeps in cars and pay gym memberships so they can go take showers and go to the restroom so they can go to work the next day.
Right.
But they sleeping in their cars as a family sometimes.
Mm.
Okay. So we just label all this mental illness and then give them these psychiatric drugs that are causing people to stab people. You hearing more and more about that on the streets. Just right down from our museum on Sunset Boulevard, 6616 Sunset Boulevard. At the Jack in the Box, the guy coming, just stabbing people walking by the Jack in the Box. He just starts stabbing. The other guy, he's running at the police with a machete. The policeman's trying not to shoot him, tripped and fell down. He's coming down with the machete on the cop when another cop dropped him. But these are the things should not be happening if these drugs and the mental health programs were any good. And so we need to be able to look at it from an objective point of view, unbiased in our approach, and looking at the results of what is going on because of all of this money coming down with mental health.
You think the money may have corrupted some of the policies that they have in mental health?
Well, money always corrupts. The idea that most of the people who vote for these drugs to come on the market work for the pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
So everybody know you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Right.
So if over 50% of them work for the pharmaceuticals, and by the way, just so your audience to know, I am not anti-pharmaceutical.
Okay.
Because they also give us drugs that protect us and keep us living and things like that. But when it comes to these psychiatric drugs, those drugs cause people to have suicides, hear voices, commit homicide. All of these are the side effects. It'll tell you on the commercial.
Hey, you're in the commercial.
You know, suicidal thoughts and actions. When they say and actions, that means somebody is trying to kill themselves or killed themselves.
Well, you know what? My thought is, if somebody's trying to kill themselves, why would it? You know, if they have a homicidal thought, and you telling me that it's only against themselves, but then you see all this random stuff happening in the streets. If it make you commit suicide, I'm quite sure it'll make you commit homicide. It just seems like it makes sense to me.
Well, a suicide is just a homicide done to yourself.
Okay.
So you're absolutely right in your assessment.
You want to say that? Okay.
That's why I got but that's okay. So that means I've impinged, and that's what I want to do. Is if you can remember that I've done my job. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, we have a documentation how psychotropic drugs create violence and suicide.
Okay.
And the thing is that everybody knows it, but everybody pretend they don't know. I can go to Congress and I might not be able to find anybody that would do an investigation or create one because the pharmaceuticals are very powerful. You know, if I wasn't working for CCHR, I'd keep my mouth shut.
Right.
But I don't make my money through them. I make my money through another. It's like Farrakhan, he can talk because his money don't come from them. But if my money was anywhere connected to it, then they got a way of silencing you. They just make it where you can't live. You know, right now, I sent out 85 different posts with just a little girl holding up a sign that said, "Don't electroshock me and don't drug me." You know, it got censored on Facebook.
Did it really?
Got censored. Just a picture of the little girl. I was telling somebody some stuff, and I won't go into it because I don't want them shutting your show down. But we talked about the vaccine, and I gave some facts. the person's whole thing was wiped out.
Mm.
They didn't shut them down, just took all the content off. So we at a time when we're being censored and we think we are the land of the free. But if I can't voice, how simple would it be? And they'll probably hear this and do it. Right here, you got 4 squares on this monitor. How come you can't have the information that is proven factual, the information that may be factual, the information that most people don't believe is factual, and a lie? How come they can't be putting on Facebook and stuff, putting different categories so the people can still make their own decisions? This is what we have going on right now. So I can tell the truth, but they'll say I'm lying. The media, we think the media, when we see Pat Harvey, when we see Mark Brown and the other black, they are good at what they do. So we think that that is their opinion,
right,
that they're giving over the air, but they really reading teleprompters and things like that. Or they've been prepped,
right,
and stuff. They have to do what the network want because they work for the network or the news station.
right.
Not that they bad people at all. I've seen them at events. You've seen them at events and stuff. They're good people. But we take that as if it's the gospel when it's not. And so the images that we get, and I'm going to say something really wild. They used to say, somebody spotted a UFO and they played a little woo music and make a big joke of it.
Right.
Well, now that ain't necessarily a joke. The Pentagon is saying, yeah, there may be. The Navy is saying, yeah, there may be. Well, what makes it a joke then? And now it's something we need to consider now. It's just a progression in which they bring us along to get us prepared. See? So then maybe 5 years from now, we'll hear there's a landing. I'm just talking. I'm just giving an example of how sometimes what is called conspiracy theories is actually a spoiler alert. You know what I'm saying?
I never thought about that, Fred.
See? So that's what we have to look at and realize that, you know, we're not necessarily being given the truth. You know, if you look at the whole thing in Israel, and I know America is a friend.
Watch yourself.
I'm very careful what I'm going to say.
Get me canceled.
No, I ain't going to get you canceled. I'm saying we know America's with Israel, but if you listen to the other side, it's a whole different story on what they think is happening.
Okay.
That's the same way it is in Ukraine. I've talked to people that live in Ukraine at the museum. They say, we don't know what this is about. You know, we being told different things, but we basically the same people. My people live in Russia. They live in Ukraine. Same people. So what is the war about? You see? So all I'm saying to us is that we have to become educated to the point we can make decisions for ourselves and not just take the word of what comes across the television, the radio, or what we read on the internet, because a lot of that stuff is wrong. You know, so.
And AI don't make it no better.
Don't make it no better.
That should be sounding official.
I know.
That should be sounding official. Is all out. Man, that sounds like it make a lot of sense. You know, and I had to catch myself because I like looking at different reels or in different videos. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same voice that says something. Because in voice, they use the same voices for the same thing. And I'm like, you have to really be able to differentiate.
I can't say it either.
Okay,
but
know the difference, goddammit.
Yeah,
which one is other?
Yeah, and with artificial intelligence coming right now, we see that they're having the strikes and stuff. And the biggest thing about it is the fact that they can take your image, create an image similar to yours that they originate, and then they can make money on that the rest of creation.
Yeah, corporate lives.
You know, and why they would be that greedy, you know, it shouldn't be. You want to keep people working in society, or you gonna fool around and have nobody that can pay for your product.
You know, I never understood that. How do you expect to make all the money and offer people, and there's no? It has to be a flow. If all the money goes to the top and then come back down, then one day it's gonna stop flowing.
Well, but see, the people in power, all they seek is more power. And generally, those people don't look at the overall picture. They just see the picture in the mirror that they have of them.
Okay.
And so I want all of this money because I want to be able to chase the best women. I want to be able to live in the biggest house. I want to be able to have the fanciest car. I want everybody to worship me. And so when they see me coming down, and today I'm in a Lamborghini, tomorrow I'm in a Mercedes, the next day I'm in a Rolls Royce, and then you go to my 7,000 square foot house with the pool and the backyard look like a golf course. Now everybody see me. It ain't about you. We don't realize that we become more powerful as we empower others. See, if I empower 10 people to where they're all millionaires, I can become broke, borrow 100,000 from each one and be a millionaire again. See, these are the things that we got to be able to understand. So when we're doing or we're in a fight, yeah, I might be rising up, but I empowered all of the people that's helping me. I gave everybody awards and things like that to show the appreciation. Because as you get more powerful, I become more powerful.
Right.
But we as a group can't usually think like that.
Interesting. Interesting. All right, folks, you're live with my man Fred Shaw from the CCHR.
There you go.
Okay. He's a community advocate, buddy of mine forever, and his advocacy is around mental health. Some of the drugs our kids have been issued, some of the drugs we've been issued over the years. Like I said before, I've been around the mental health community for quite some time, and he didn't really know that. That's not something we talked a lot about. But as a young man, I worked at a mental health facility for a couple of years, and I saw things differently. And that's why when he talks to me about mental health, it makes me, I have a soft spot in my heart for it because I've been around it. I've grew up with folks that had mental health issues. I have had family members with mental health issues. So I know some of the things he's talking about is very true, very accurate. And that's one of those things that people, we tend to kick into the closet. You know, back in the day, if you had somebody in your family that had mental health issues, you put him in the back room and you slid him a plate under the door. Okay, don't go by that back room back there. Okay, but what he made it, need somebody to come back there and talk to him. That may have been what he needed, but because he did a few strange things, and sometimes he was ostracized, but he still was part of the family. You just didn't mess with him. Okay, and things have changed, so that's what we're here today, folks.
Well, there's a lot of us that have abilities and disabilities that are different from other people, but just because we're going through something, just because we're depressed, don't mean we have depression. Your mom died, you're sad, you're in deep sadness, they call that depression. But if mom was alive, you wouldn't have been in that depression. So why are we penalizing and labeling people for having the appropriate response based on the situation? If you found out that I left here and got in a car accident and got killed, you would most likely be sad.
Right.
Well, so who tells you how long that sadness is supposed to last, how deep that sadness is supposed to be? They don't have the insight into that to know that. So then they label you as depressed or having depression when all it is they need you to sit down and they talk about, so what's up with your boy? What how close were you? What was going on?
Right.
Find out what is really going on. I'm depressed because it's Christmas coming. I can't give Christmas toys to my kids. The kids are all excited every time they look at the TV. Ooh, they want that.
No, you ain't got it.
You know you don't have it. So now you're going to be depressed. So you're suffering depression. But what if you hit the lottery the next day?
Ain't no more depression?
No more. Come on now, Doc. Talk to me. See? So that's what I'm telling people. Some things we're supposed to be able to work through. Some things that we can get through it if we face it head on. And every now and then you're going to run around across people that need help, but it ain't 6.1 million children. You see, if you said there was 60,000 children mentally ill in this country, you might not have an argument out of me. But when you're saying 6.1
children,
the Los Angeles Coliseum filled up 61 times with nothing but children on psychiatric drugs. That's what you're looking at, to put it in this perspective. So now there's 80, I think, million people in this country on those drugs. These are the same people, and this is going to be scary to you. How do you handle it when the pilot is suicidal on a flight?
Bad day. It's going to be a bad day for a lot of people.
How do you handle it when the cop carrying a gun, handling issues, is on psychotropic drugs?
Bad day for somebody.
So, but they won't tell you that because they want you on the drugs. They won't say, if you on these drugs, you can't carry a gun. Because there's a violence tendency to these drugs. They won't tell you that because then you wouldn't take the drugs and the money ain't being made. So they just let you go. I had a young man tell me, my doctor is a forensic psychiatrist, and he said I had ADHD, and you don't know what he know, and he's more trained than you are. And I said, that's right. I said, so answer this to me, young man. How long did it take you to get from your home to the appointment with the doctor? He said, about 30 minutes. I said, okay. You drove? Yeah. You drove yourself? Yeah. So you was able to drive 30 minutes, traffic lights, cars coming, stop, go, all of that for 30 minutes. It seemed like you could pay attention to what you was doing. So if you really couldn't pay attention, how would you get there by car if you was driving? So maybe it's a little bit more than what they're telling you on this subject. And maybe it's about a different issue. It's about the perks that the psychiatrists get from the pharmaceutical companies, the Laker tickets, the ice capades, the World Series, all of these type of perks. Your kid having a birthday, they know it. They lay out the spread for everybody and all the people enjoy it. Well, people love perks.
Yeah.
So, because what makes you take my drug and distribute it to the people over somebody else's is what I do to make you feel wanted.
Right.
So whatever I got to do for that, that's what I do to have you prescribe my drug. And then once I got you doing it, you going to prescribe the drug because you don't want the perks to stop. Because I'll come by and say, yeah, we noticed that we haven't had many prescriptions out of there. And then you say, oh, yeah. Oh, my son's birthday. Yeah, I don't know if we can handle that. Now the message is sent. And then you get back to prescribing the drugs. It's all a game. It's all a game.
Simple as that. Folks, we're live with my man Fred Shaw. I'm a CCHR community activist for mental health. Long time, buddy, folks. If he ain't dropping it correct, he ain't gonna come. If he don't come 100, he ain't gonna come at all. If he don't come 100, he don't come at all. That's why he sits next to me, because he's one of them 100 percenters that I roll with on a regular basis. I don't hang with a lot of fakes and phonies. If I do, they got me too. So hey.
And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you how real I am. If anybody watching this wants to get a hold of Lonzo and say, hey, I want to take him on one-on-one, I'm here. So, because I know my facts, I know the history. I might not have a PhD, but I got a PhD. I've been out here doing this a long time. And I've debated psychiatrists from Morehouse University to UC Irvine to Harvard professors. And I got the same record as Mayweather and Terrence Crawford.
What?
So it's like,
undefeated.
Anybody want to bring it on? Come on.
Undefeated.
They won't debate me though, Doc. Trust me. They haven't debated me. Not since 2011.
They went in the smoke, Fred.
Last person I debated was a Harvard professor, and it was so bad a debate. I asked him, I said, how can I debate you on mental health, and this is your field, and you can't debate me on the Bible? See? So, and I've had all kind of tricks. Guy called me and said, well, you say that, but more people get eaten by alligators that die from psychiatric drugs. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, I don't believe that's true. It is true. Okay, how many people have been eaten by alligators? Oh, I don't know. I said, would you please get off the phone playing with people's lives? The talk show host grabbed my arm. He did like, they guessed, man, come on, don't play with people's lives. Like I wouldn't spot that he was a psychiatrist calling in. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but that's what we're looking at. And I, like I say, I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I challenge almost most of the shows. I tell them, if you don't believe me, believe the commercials.
Okay. They tell you in the commercial. Thoughts of suicide, so on, so on, so on, so thoughts of suicide, erratic behavior, loose stool, whatever it may be. But thoughts of suicide always sticks in my head. And anything that'll make you want to kill yourself, you really did that in your system. I got to ask you that. If the thoughts of making you want to kill yourself start running through your head based on a drug that you was taking for something else, that ain't what you need to be doing. Anyway, folks, how can they find you, Fred?
Well, they can come to the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. It's 6616 Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90028. You can visit. We're open most days, 6 days a week at least. You can get in from 10 to 5. You can contact me personally. If you want to know about the task force, all you have to do is be a professional, somebody interested in the cause. You contact me at fshawjr@yahoo.com, fshawjr@yahoo.com. Put Lonzo Williams in the subject line. I'll know it came from this show, and I'll get back with you. But the main thing is go to cchrint.org. We got all kind of information. We got a museum in 3D on that. You can put any drug you're taking in our drug database. It will give you the side effects, the true side effects. Yeah. We got the drug database there. It'll give you the true side effects. And also be very careful of what you're getting off the internet. For example, one day I looked up electric shock. They said a mild dose of voltage. Well, that's not true. It goes up to 460 volts, which is about 4 times that which is in your electrical socket. They do it to the point that you get a grand mal seizure. So for them to say that, it's just a mild dose of electricity was to create in your mind. It's like when you go to the chiropractor and get the little stimulant.
Right.
This ain't the same thing.
Okay. It's gonna wake your ass up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know what, Fred, after so many attempts at coercing me to come down there, I finally took the tour, and I was totally blown away. When you see the tour they have on the office on Sunset about mental health, how things were treated back in the day, how things are treated recently, and how things are treated now, you will have a whole new perspective on mental health and how it's the treatment of mental health. And you'll find that what Fred is saying is pretty doggone on point. He ain't coming from some quack position. When I saw the different drugs, the different treatments, the straight jackets, how they electroshock babies and other things, and mothers that are pregnant, whatever the mama get, the baby gonna get it too. Whatever the mama get, whether it be drugs, beer, alcohol, or electric shock, whatever the mama get, baby get too. So when you see certain things, and you wonder, what are you thinking about? What makes you think this is going to work in the first place? What part of the brain made you think that this right here was going to be an effective treatment for this particular situation? So if you ever get a chance to, folks, check it out. Give them the address again, Fred.
6616 Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90028.
All right, folks, you are live with Lonzo, my good friend Fred Shaw from CCHR. Man, thanks for coming out, Fred.
Man, it's my pleasure. And anytime you want me or anytime we can hook up, let's do it.
Compton, we are out of here. Thank you, folks, for watching. Thank you, folks, for viewing. Peace.